My name is Shorewarz, and over the last 10 years I've been writing about, reporting on, and reading daily video game news non-stop. With a background in television production, PR, and YouTube, I've seen firsthand how the smallest decisions from the world's biggest game companies can become breaking news overnight. Ever wonder where gaming is headed? Want to know what I think is going to happen next? Welcome to Speculation Ops. Today I'll be speculating on upcoming Star Wars video games, TV shows, comic books, and Boba Fett feature films? That sounds awesome! Is Boba Fett really going to get his own spin-off feature film? I think so, and so does a website called BobaFettFanClub.com. These guys reported on a rumor that came out of a web show called AMC Movie Talk. While talking about the likelihood of spin-off Star Wars movies, their guest, director John Schnepp, said, quote, "One of them is Boba Fett. It is. I know. I know for a fact." End quote. He also referred to the film as a Boba Fett solo standalone, so that sounds awesome. Pretty exciting. You have to consider this a rumor at the moment until we get a confirmation from Mickey Mouse. Outside of being a dream come true though, for many of us Star Wars fans, I think there's probably some truth to this because I think Disney's planning to take a Marvel-style approach to the whole Star Wars universe. If you think about the standalone films for Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, the Hulk, etc., you know, we could see something equal to that for Boba Fett, Han Solo, Luke Skywalker, Ishi Tib, maybe Elan Sleazebagano or Yakface. Maybe not. Anyway, this is all really exciting and kind of a little scary because I think the reality is that with so many characters and the huge expanded universe of Star Wars, it's easy to come up with interesting storylines and new ideas, but it's always the execution of those ideas that is always the most important, and it's the hardest thing to do. You know, getting Star Wars to feel like Star Wars is not easy. I really think that J.J. Abrams is going to have great execution on his ideas for the Star Wars films that we're going to see, but us gamers, we know that creating a good or a great Star Wars video game is never an easy thing. I mean, we're always promised huge and amazing things in gaming. Sometimes we get masterpieces like TIE Fighter, Rogue Squadron 2, Republic Commando, or awesome games like the Knights of the Old Republic, The Force Unleashed, or even LEGO Star Wars. Other times we get stuck with Rogue Squadron 3, or Angry Birds Star Wars. Yeah, that's right, I said it. Angry Birds Star Wars. We know that Electronic Arts has exclusive rights over all Star Wars games for the foreseeable future. This is good and bad in my opinion. Good because we know that Battlefront is being headed up by DICE, and I'm sure those guys are still plugging away at the game while they're fixing Battlefield 4. But bad because there's virtually no chance we'll get to see other developers or publishers work with the Star Wars license for a while, for a long time. And that can stymie creativity. For example, I would have loved to see 1313 get passed off to Naughty Dog or maybe even Ubisoft. Instead, we'll have to wait to see if EA is able to hand this game off, you know, to a capable studio, or else the project will just be completely scrapped, which would be a bummer. On the comic book side of things, Lucasfilm has teamed up with Marvel, and they're going to be making new Star Wars comics and graphic novels in 2015. And I think this is great news for Star Wars fans because I think that whole Dark Horse history kind of needs to be refreshed. 20 years is a long time to be making a certain franchise comic, and I think this is going to be great for Star Wars to kind of refresh things and get new storylines out there. Hopefully we'll get a chance to see some really cool Boba Fett branching storylines as well. On the TV side of things, we've got Star Wars Rebels, which is kind of like a sequel or a continuation of the Clone Wars series. I know it's kind of a separate storyline, but that's awesome. It's being done by Dave Filoni and a lot of the guys that did the Clone Wars, so I have high hopes for that series. And I like that they're kind of taking this whole retro look approach. That's something that's kind of hard to explain to a lot of people, why the prequels look so futuristic and streamlined, and why the original 3 films, everything is sort of mass-produced and a little more simple in terms of design. And that may be another topic for another video, but anyway, we're also going to get Star Wars Attack Squadron, which is basically a free-to-play kind of multiplayer space sim shooter for kids or for young people, which I think will be pretty cool too. So we have a lot of Star Wars stuff coming out in the next year, in the next few years. And finally, we're going to get to see Episode 7 open on December 18th, 2015. So we got a ton of Star Wars stuff coming up in just the next year or two. And I'm really excited about it, especially because I've got a son now and I can share all this good stuff with him. So it's going to be awesome. In case it's not obvious, I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and there's a pretty darn good chance that you're going to see more Star Wars related videos on my channel down the road. Like a lot of people, I collected some action figures, but unlike most people, I didn't stop until after I already had about 500 unopened figures that were protected by those plastic casing shells called star cases. Yes, that means I had to go purchase over 500 star cases. Anyway, in the meantime, please leave a comment and be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you enjoyed this video. I still think that Episode 7 is going to be titled Shadows of the Sith. You guys can check a link in the description for more information on that. Happy New Year, and I'll see you next time.